And good afternoon, and welcome to the Board of County Commissioners Board meeting for January 14, 2020. I am John Hutchings, the chair. To my left is Commissioner Gary Edwards. To my right is Vice Chair Commissioner Ty Menser. To his right is La Bonita Bomar, our clerk of the board. And on the bench over here in support is our County Manager Ramiro Chavez. And to the far right is Deputy Prosecuting Attorney Elizabeth Petrich. And so welcome to the meeting, and we're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance led by Commissioner Edwards.
And I, in turn, am going to ask that Tim Braniff, our undersheriff, assist us in that. Please.
Yes, please join us in the salute to our nation's flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you. And I'm looking for an approval of today's agenda.
Move to approve today's agenda.
Second.
Any amendments or changes?
No, sir. Nope.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That passes. And looking for a motion to approve the board meeting minutes.
Move to approve board meeting minutes from January 7, 2020.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve January 7th board meeting minutes. Any changes?
No, sir.
Nope. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Carries. Thank you. That takes us to presentations on our agenda. And the first one is a proclamation for Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day.
Thank you, Commissioners. It is my pleasure to introduce to the board Bishop Lorenzo Peterson from the New Life Baptist Church. Please.
Good afternoon, Commissioners Hutchins, Edwards, and Menser. I'm delighted to be here on behalf of the New Life Baptist Church and the African American community of Thurston County to receive this proclamation in recognition of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. holiday on Monday, January 20th, 2020. Dr. King was clearly loved and admired by many, but particularly those of us in the African American community who considered him a drum major for justice who had a dream. He's most worthy of this holiday for a number of reasons, some of which include that he was an American Christian minister, an activist who became the most visible spokesperson and leader in the civil rights movement from 1955 until his assassination in 1968 at the early age of 39 years old. Dr. King is best known for advancing civil rights through nonviolence and civil disobedience. He helped organize the 1963 March on Washington, where he delivered his famous I Have a Dream speech. On October 14, 1964, Dr. King won the Nobel Peace Prize for combating racial inequality through nonviolent resistance. He organized many marches and was jailed numerous times during his lifetime. He worked on segregated housing, labor issues, Vietnam War issues, and was planning a national occupation of Washington, D.C. to be called the Poor People's Campaign when he was assassinated. Dr. King was posthumously awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom and the Congressional Gold Medal. We at New Life Baptist Church, which has become the largest predominantly black church in Washington State, want to see that we return to his focus on freedom, justice, equality, liberty, and other such values spoken about in the Declaration of Independence and the United States Constitution. Discussion about these important values have been replaced by a day of service in America on this holiday, which we believe take away from the areas of focus that his life stood for. So let us return to this focus so that we can resume these valuable conversations that are still critical issues in this nation and here in Thurston County, where racial diversity is on an upward spiral as we look toward the future. We deeply appreciate this proclamation by the commission and the attention it brings to this holiday, to this great man, and to the extraordinary life that he lived ever so briefly. Thank you so very much. May God bless America. May God bless Thurston County.
Wow, thank you. Anybody else want to speak? No? Okay. Any comments?
Thank you for being here and those words. Dr. King's one of my heroes personally, and I'm very proud that we're able to make this proclamation.
Anything, Commissioner?
I'm just going to keep it short. Thank you very much.
Well, I can't keep it short.
Your prerogative, sir.
In 2001, I had the pleasure of going to Memphis to do some police training. And I visited it's a national museum, the Lorraine Motel. And have you all been there? Yes. I tell you, they said it takes about an hour or two to go through. I was there for 3 hours, and it was I'm getting goosebumps. It was profoundly moving. Is it not? Profoundly. And I just mentioned to my wife a couple of days ago, I need to take you to Memphis. You've got to see the Lorraine Motel. We've got to go through it. It can't help but move you to tears. And then to the end, where you see where that bad guy, because I won't mention his name, took him out and changed the course of history. So thank you all for being here. It's a very powerful day. Thank you. Now, proclamation.
Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Whereas Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. asked that no one be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. And whereas Dr. King dedicated his life to the nonviolent crusade for human rights for all people. And whereas the Board of Thurston County Commissioners recognizes the strength and vision of Dr. King in the struggle for equality. And whereas the Board of Thurston County Commissioners encourages all people to join together in a rededication to the principles of equality and justice for all. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the Thurston County Commissioners, in observance of the federal holiday, hereby proclaims Monday, January 20th, 2020, as Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day in Thurston County, and encourages all citizens to join in the celebration. The Board of Thurston County Commissioners further encourage citizens to follow Dr. King's mission of service to others by participating in projects that will benefit the community. Adopted this 14th day of January 2020, Board of County Commissioners.
Now, come on up, get a photo, please.
We'll email a new one.
Are we going to get a few more folks to come up?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Sanowski.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I didn't want to steal the will. You got to get right up here in front of us here, sir. There you go. What, you're left out? Your partners in crime aren't coming, or what? Huh?
Please come here. Right here.
Okay. We'll move over this.
Are you going to be in the picture too?
Yes.
1, 2, 3. Let's get one more. 1, 2, 3. Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. That was very good. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. We'll mail you a corrected proclamation. So forgive us for that.
Yes.
Thank you.
See ya. Thank you.
Now, we have a presentation, a proclamation in recognition of the 30th anniversary of Holmes First. And I'd like to bring up Trudy Sukup. Welcome.
I feel like I was just here yesterday.
Just yesterday.
Yeah.
You were.
Thank you very much for taking some time today to recognize Homes First. Homes First is a homegrown Thurston County nonprofit housing provider. For the last 30 years, we've been providing safe, healthy, and affordable rental housing to people. And we do that in a kind of unusual way. We take homes that are pre-existing, and we acquire them, and we rehab them, and then we rent them out to the lowest of income people in our community. We serve families, we serve veterans, we serve adults with developmental disabilities, we serve youth. But we do all of this in partnership with our community members. So we partner with organizations like Community Youth Services, Family Support Center, the Veterans Hub, and many, many other organizations. And we partner with Thurston County. So Thurston County has been one of the major supporters of Homes First by providing a portion of the funds for us to purchase some of the houses that we own. We also manage 2 properties in Thurston County that would otherwise be empty or sitting on property waiting to be reused in another fashion. So we want to also thank you for making sure that property that is in Thurston County is being put to the highest and best use, which is putting people in homes that they can afford for a better and more hopeful life. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions, comments?
Thank you, Trudy. Thank you very much.
I've gotten to know you, Trudy, here in the last couple of years and really respect the work that your organization does. And thank you for doing this. You're working on, as we all recognize, one of the foremost problems that our community faces. And you're doing it in a forward-thinking way. Having the model that you use to take existing housing and scattered sites across our community and really make them available with supportive services is just exactly what we need right now. So keep plugging at it, and thank you very much.
Homes First is an admirable organization, obviously, but you are also admirable for the work that you do tirelessly, it seems. And there's no way you're going to be working yourself out of a job. There's a lot more work yet to be done,
Yeah.
and we're here with you.
Thank you. We
Thank you so
appreciate
much,
that.
Trudy. Proclamation. Take one.
In recognition of the 30th anniversary of Homes First, whereas access to safe, affordable housing is critical for our lowest income citizens, especially seniors, those with disabilities and families, and whereas currently in Washington State, only 29 low-income housing units are available for every 100 low-income households, reflecting the staggering need for more affordable housing. And whereas numerous studies demonstrate the significant mental and physical positive impacts stable, safe housing have on children and adults alike. And whereas Homes First is a long-established provider of safe, healthy, and affordable housing in our community. And whereas Homes First has housed over 5,000 people in Thurston County in scattered sites throughout our neighborhoods, helping tenants connect with the community in positive ways. And whereas Homes First continues to create innovative partnerships to best build community and increase affordable, supportive housing options. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the Thurston County Commissioners hereby join others across Thurston County to proclaim and commemorate Homes First in honor of the 30th anniversary of their work in communities throughout the county. Adopted this 14th day of January 2020.
And
I'm going to ask Thomasina Cooper to join us for the picture. She's also on our board of directors.
probably.
Okay, thank you. Tall people in the back row. I know I don't look like it when I'm sitting down, right? Yeah.
30 years.
I like the short one.
Thank you. Awesome.
All right, 1, 2, 3. Let's get one more. 1, 2, 3. Perfect.
Thank you so much, and thank you for this.
Thanks, you guys, I appreciate it.
Thanks so much. Yes, sir.
How in the hell did that happen?
And an additional presentation, but no proclamation, and this is for Public Works.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Jennifer Walker, Public Works Director. And I am here today, very excited, to introduce to you our new Thurston County Solid Waste Manager, Mark McElroy. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Mark. Professionally, he'll share a little bit about himself personally, and then we'll be welcoming him into the county. So this search went on for a handful of months looking for a solid waste manager, and Mark has a degree in political science, pre-law from St. Martin's University, a master's degree in public administration from Evergreen College. He spent the last 18 years working for the state of Washington at Camp Murray. His tenure at Camp Murray, during that time he held several positions, financial manager, risk and safety manager, and director and assistant division director of the Construction and Facilities Office. Mark has an extensive experience in contract procurement and management, financial and facilities management, and strong leadership, communication, and staff development skills. Mark is a military veteran and previously served on Thurston County's Human Rights and Diversity Council. And with your permission, Mark would like to come up and address the board.
Certainly, yeah. Come on, Mark. A saint and a gooey duck, like a Saint Gooey Duck.
Thank you so much, Commissioners. That's pretty professional and pretty formal, so I'll give you sort of the less professional and less formal side of the McElroy household. I come from a very large Irish family in Chicago, and as already alluded to, came out here via U.S. Army and fell in love with the mountains and never went home. So I'm a mountain climber, and I love it because it's hard, it's challenging, and so that's what I do. I've climbed most of the major peaks out here. Mount Baker I've not climbed, but it's on the list, it's on the bucket list. I was in the Washington National Guards, became an officer out here. I fought forest fires out here. I was out here for floods in Centralia. I was in the EOC during the Oso landslide, so this is my community. I've lived in Thurston County since 1991. So I'm vested in this job, I'm vested in this community, and I love being here. So that's, my daughter's here, she went to Capitol, she's out at Evergreen now, but she wants to transfer to Western. So not too sure she's gonna be a gooey duck like her dad, so. And that's all I have. So if you have
Wonderful.
any questions.
Welcome. Any questions or comments?
No, welcome aboard. I started my legal career in Chicago, so I have a little taste of that, but I was a West Coast person, so I felt like a fish out of water over there, so I came back, and but we're happy to have you. It's great to have somebody with
Thank you.
local pedigree and all the experience that you bring.
Thank you very much.
Commissioner?
Thank you. Just look forward to working with you and doing good things.
So, it's rather timely, because my daughter-in-law just came back from a work trip in Ireland, and she said, I know what you need, and she brought me a cap from Ireland.
Very nice.
Brand new. Actually, the first day I've been wearing it is today. So, as they say in Ireland, but I'm going to twist it to solid waste, there's no luck except where there's discipline. And so with your pedigree and your background, I expect nothing but exceptional work from you, Mark. Welcome to the family.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Well, that takes us to item number 1, actually, on the agenda, which is the opportunity for the public to address the board. And I'll go over some general guidelines. Number 1, if you have not done so already, please silence your phones. And the board does not the board does not respond to public comment except on an as-needed basis. The county manager will follow up on specific items. Speakers are limited to a total of 3 minutes to address the board, and meeting attendees are not allowed to donate their time to another person. Okay, and the board reserves the right to restrict a person's opportunity to address the board for good cause. No comments, please, that are lewd or offensive to a reasonable person. Be respectful. No inflammatory comments, hateful, defamatory, or discriminatory speech. We ask you please be respectful. No outbursts of any kind. No comments that are commercial in nature, such as a promotion for a for-profit business. And any and all materials provided to the county may be considered public record, subject to public records release pursuant to the Public Records Act, Chapter 42.56 of the RCW, and any remarks about pending use permits, land use permits, or similar matters that could eventually come before the board for a decision on appeal wouldn't be appropriate. And when I call you up, you'll come up to the podium. Please identify yourself, introduce yourself, and about where you live in the county. And I'll call up the first person who has signed up and the next runner-up, so that person's ready to go. However, before we begin, if there's anybody that would like to leave, feel free to leave at this time. Thank you very much. Thank you, Gary. And thank you again for coming. Thank you. Thank you for that. Yeah. So the first one is Sally Knoll, followed by Sharon Kuntz. Hello. That was good.
I'm Sally Knoll. I live at 12908 Tilly Road South. It was gorgeous out there this morning with the snow. And there's also a side note. There's water and ice over the road there at Maytown and Tilly Road. They've got the blinking lights up there, I'm telling you. So we've had a lot of rain, a lot of precipitation out there. And I'm representing myself and Friends of Rocky Prairie, and I just want to have two statements. One is from a man in Tenino. His name is Ed Salarino. And then I want you to know that this is from Merrill, and she says that in 2009, the park was listed, the park meaning Miller, Sylvania, was listed on the National Register of Historic Places in recognition of its well-preserved Civilian Conservation Corps landscape. And he's got a website here on where you can check that out. But I didn't know that. I didn't know Miller Sylvania Park is actually a national registered place. That's pretty cool. And then this is from Ed from the Tenino Stone Carvers. And he says, I support the neighborhood's effort to stop this development, meaning North Point's development of that logistics center. Although I am just a renter and I've only been living here for just under 2 years, this shady grove is my home. It's a peaceful place where I can connect with nature and landscape. The same is true of Miller, Sylvania, where people come to get away from the noise and the pollution, and where changing in the zoning would impact the tourism economy of the area. I have people visiting my workshop every weekend who travel here to camp at Miller, Sylvania, and are out exploring supporting the local businesses. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Sharon, followed by John Pettit.
Should we dance? Get awkward.
Hi, Commissioner Sharon Kuntz. I live out Steamboat Island Peninsula. I told you last week I'd be back with petitions. They're actually not petitions officially. We have about 4,200 people whom we asked to print their names and addresses for you to show that they don't want the Maytown site near Miller Sylvania State Park upzoned, and they want it left as it is, and we have those for you today. Again, with apologies to the staff, because it's a big stack. We'll bring those up after I'm done speaking. The vast majority of these people are Thurston County residents. But the park has a lot of fans, and there's some state interest in saving that area, as you probably know from a letter that Representatives Richard DeBolt, Beth Dolio and Lori Dolan, and Senator Sam Hunt provided for you, I think last week, I'm not positive. Commissioner Hutchings can tell you because someone told me they gave it to you. Some of the out of area visitors to the park sometimes asked to sign our petitions, add their names, as did 3 or 4 charming children who couldn't be talked out of it, which was kind of awkward because we're trying to say, well, you know, you're not really a voter. So they're not your current voters, but they're your future voters. And we figured it was their world soon enough, and so we let them when they insisted, but we did put their age in parentheses so that you'd know that we weren't trying to slip anything past you. They're not your voters. Okay. We stopped gathering names when we realized that with online petitions, we have signers, we have well over 5,000 names for you. And we thought that those, along with all those groups who've joined our coalition, should be enough to convince you that this county does not think it's a good idea to docket this zoning request and prolong everybody's agony. I think you got a letter today, they copied me from the League of Women Voters explaining why they support our coalition, joined and support our coalition. And by the way, our online petitions aren't just those click and forget about it ones. We ask for a lot of information when people go there to sign, including all their complete addresses, their emails, their telephone numbers and everything. So all of that is collected. We will have those names forwarded to you soon. We are checking them, trying to make sure that we get rid of any duplicates. We don't want to do this under false pretenses. I'm sure some will sneak by us, as will the actual count, because I counted a couple times. And when you hit about 4,000, it gets confusing, as I'm sure you can appreciate. So with that said, Sally and I will bring the petitions up to you, you lucky person. Okay, thank you.
Excuse me, thank you, John.
Thank you.
They have probably 15 minutes per page.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is John Pettit. I live out in East Olympia on Ridge Road. Today, I earlier sent you an email regarding some of the clarification on issues we need to have for the courthouse proposition. It's hard to imagine this with all the elections happening, but we're like less than 90 days before the voter ballots should be going out. And yet we don't have a completed, corrected proposition. It doesn't seem like that gives us much of a chance to review it, but there's several elements of it which need to be clarified. I typed it out by hand because the doggone computer wouldn't let me just paste and copy for the edition for what's available online. But a couple notes about obvious errors is there has never been an actual figure put in for a rate that you're proposing that you're going to actually be charging for this proposition for the courthouse. Seems like with less than 90 days till the ballots are out, we should have the filled in information. And then the authorization is per $1,000, but per $1,000 of what? Assessed value? Like we need to have that cleared up. We also need to have a portion that refers to the exemption qualified seniors, disabled veterans from the levy. Per what RCW? There's a lot of clerical aspects to this proposition and need to be made clear. And then, of course, I posed even a larger significant issue. In fact, I found it kind of interesting because Nancy Neris, the special prosecutor that works for the county under this particular situation, she's already previously written a paper which is obtainable through a spot on the email I sent you regarding what percentage of voters it takes to approve this proposition. Of course, I certainly will stand by that. It's pretty obvious from the documents you have, it requires 60%. I believe it's been the county position to try to sleep it through a 50+1 vote, hoping for a small turnout. I think you're going to find even your prosecuting attorney, Nancy Neris, based upon what she's written before in her opinions, that's even set with the MSRC site suggests. So I'm looking to get some of that all corrected. I think, yes, I still have major concerns about a website. I see the county's website is posted in the category of the committee that supports the process, and that's a pretty good indication that not everything's being seen from both sides. So thank you.
That concludes the folks that have signed up to speak. Is there anybody that would like to address the board? You still have the opportunity to do so. Anyone? Anyone? Going 3 times? No. Thank you very much. That takes us to item number 2 on the agenda, the county manager's update. And county manager, you want to remind them about the meeting, no meeting next week?
Yeah, thank you, Commissioners. The Board of County Commissioners meeting is scheduled for January 21st. Next Tuesday is canceled. We will have our regular agenda setting in the morning, and the rest of the week will be normal.
Thank you.
I'd like to follow up with Mr. Pettit comment today. Yes, in fact, we did receive via email this morning a letter from Mr. Pettit where he asked a few questions and related to the testimony that you provided this afternoon. So we'll be preparing a response to you in a timely manner. Also, I'd like to highlight the comment Mr. Pettit provided last Tuesday during the public testimony of the Board of County Commissioners meeting related to the courthouse and regional administrative building project website. The website that we have posted includes factual information about this project and is a repository of all the documents the commissioners have approved, have been briefed on related to this particular project, including the ordinance adopted on November 12, includes a link to the courthouse feasibility study dated 2018. We have a final PowerPoint presentation that was presented to the board. Also included the ordinance adopted in April 30, 2018 as a history. We have courthouse renderings that was presented to the commissioners. And we have the final survey that was conducted a couple of years ago. Also, we have frequently asked questions, and it is a background related to the project as a whole. This particular information was reviewed by the prosecuting attorney's office as well as consulted with the PDC. And this particular website does not encourage or discourage any voter to take any action related to the ballot measure is scheduled for April 28, 2020. Also, I'd like to follow up with a couple of public testimonies that you received last week from Ms. Joseph, Ms. Darris, and Ms. Thompson, I believe. And they came and testified before the commissioners on the urgency the homeless issue is becoming in the county, and urge the board and the Thurston County to work at a regional level as to how we can address that. I'd like to follow up to those comments related to the county. It is looking as to address this very complex issue. In the county, with the cities of Olympia, Tumwater, and Lacey, are in the process of forming this group called the Regional Housing Council. The Regional Housing Council started having initial meetings, I believe back in August, September of last year. Last December, we have a 4-hour work session where we outline the vision and mission of this group. And some of the objectives outlined on this, the Regional Housing Council, is not just about looking as to how we can address the current homeless crisis, but also address affordable housing and how we can maximize the combined revenues that perhaps each jurisdiction could contribute to this effort in the long term. It's about the investment and that return to that investment. So we're working on those areas. There is a lot of work to do, but at the same time, there is a lot of energy behind as to how we can start addressing those issues with the county and the 3 large cities in Thurston County. That's all I have for you.
All right, thank you. Any questions or comments of the
No, sir.
county manager?
No.
Okay. That takes us to item number 3 on the agenda, consent items A through Q. Is there a motion?
I move to approve consent items 3A through 3Q on today's agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve consent items A through Q. Any discussion on any of those issues?
No, sir.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, the motion carries. Agenda item number 4, department items, community planning and economic development. Operations Manager Jeremy Davis.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Jeremy Davis, Thurston County Community Planning and Economic Development. I'm here to request the Board of County Commissioners approve the 2020 Thurston County Heritage Grant Awards. The fund for the Heritage Grant Awards was first enacted in 2005 with House Bill 1386. With this, it sets aside $1 from every $5 document recording fee collected by the county to be used in support of historic preservation activities. In mid-2009, the board directed staff and the Historic Commission to develop a plan for utilizing this funding in Thurston County. And based on those recommendations, the Board of County Commissioners established the His Heritage Grant Program. Initially, this was done in 2010, and it had a limit of $30,000 annually and $5,000 per project. In 2020, the board increased this amount to $75,000 or $10,000 per project. The Heritage Grant Program itself implements strategic plan initiatives number 6 and 7, and that's to proactively shape a strong and diverse economy, and also to balance development with the preservation of the county's rural character, natural areas, and open spaces. And these are funds that the county collects as recording fees and puts them right back into the community through helping those folks that want to preserve our historic heritage. Excuse me. So for the 2020 grant program, we first opened this up in July of this last year, the phase 1, and closed that on August 30th. We only received 5 applications at that point in time, so we came back to the board, and the board directed staff to open it up for phase 2 funding. That phase 2 was open for mid-October till the first week of November of 2019, and we received 5 more applications with that for a total of 10 for the 2020 grant year. We received $76,682 in grant requests. The Historic Commission reviewed all 10 grants and made a recommendation to the Board of County Commissioners that the county fund 9 of those 10 grants. County staff has previously briefed the board on all 10 grants. The 9 projects out of 10 the Commission recommended funding come to $73,282. The applicants for proposing to fund are the City of Lacey and Lacey Museum to digitize the Lacey leader and to talk to other folks in the Lacey community to get Lacey stories and document those for future generations. It's also the Olympia Historical Society and Bigelow House Museum, and that is to stabilize the roof on an 1872 shed. With the Olympia Tumwater Foundation, that is again digitizing historic images and making those accessible to the public via website. The Sandman Foundation, and that's to dry dock the Sandman tugboat and help restore that. With Window Seat Media's grant request, they're looking at documenting the oral histories in Thurston County for future generations. The South Thurston County Historical Society is again to digitize documents and photos and make those accessible to the public. The Northwest Playwrights Alliance is proposing a very interesting project actually, and that's to put on an event to commemorate the opening of the Hotel Olympian, which was a historic hotel opened in Olympia, when the folks in Olympia felt that we needed to have a hotel here on par with those in much bigger cities in the state because we're the state capital. The City of Tenino also put an application to restore a caboose, and the City of Tumwater requested money to research stabilizing the Crosby House Museum. The Historic Commission recommended the County Commissioners not fund the Olympia Arts and Heritage Alliance because they did not believe the primary focus of that grant request was promoting local history. So with that, I would request that the board please take a final consideration of those 9 projects, as I named, and please approve them. Are there any questions?
Any questions?
Thank you.
Questions, comments?
No comments.
Thank you, Jeremy, very much.
Thank you.
Is there a motion?
I move to accept the Historic Commission's recommendation and approve the 2020 Thurston County Heritage Grant Awards for the following 9 applicants: City of Lacey and Lacey Museum, Olympia Historical Society and Bigelow House Museum, Olympia Tumwater Foundation, Sandman Foundation, Window Seat Media, City of Tenino, South Thurston County Historical Society, Northwest Playwrights Alliance, and City of Tumwater, for a total of $73,282.
Second. It's been moved and seconded to approve the 2020 Thurston County Heritage Grant Awards. Any further discussion?
No, sir.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Agenda item 4B, contract amendment with TRPC.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Jeremy Davis again with Community Planning and Economic Development. With this item, I'm requesting the Board of County Commissioners consider amending the 2018 fee-for-service contract Thurston County has with the Thurston Regional Planning Council for TRPC, as it's commonly known, to provide chief clerk services for the Washington State Boundary Review Board for Thurston County. The proposed amendment number 3 is to remove the budget for 2019 and to add the budget for 2020. The current budgeted amount in the contract is $20,000. This is based on the current projected budget for 2020 and an evaluation of the previous year's expenses. So I think I've stated to Commissioners, TRPC is estimated, they think they're going to receive 4 annexation requests and a possible request to amend the boundary for the Chambers Lake Drainage District number 3 in the year 2020. The county is required by state law to fund the activities of the Boundary Review Board, which is an independent decision-making body that reviews annexation and merger requests by cities and special purpose districts in Thurston County. I do want to note that actual costs may be higher or lower depending on the number of annexations and mergers received by the Boundary Review Board in 2020. Should the expenses of TRPC reach 75%, they will communicate that to the county with the proposed budget amendment or tell us if any additional funding is necessary. If there is, we'll return to the county commissioners and work through the normal process for that approval. Funding the Boundary Review Board also fulfills Strategic Plan Initiative number 7, which is balancing development with the preservation of the county's rural character, natural areas, and open spaces. Areas annexed into cities, of course, are urbanizing areas, and that's where population moves to, which means they're not moving out into the rural county. So are there any questions?
No, sir.
Nope, anything?
No.
Nor from me either. Thank you, Jeremy.
Move to approve a contract amendment with Thurston Regional Planning Council to provide chief clerk services for the Washington State Boundary Review Board for Thurston County in 2020 with an amount of $20,000, and authorize the Director of Community Planning and Economic Development to execute the amendment and future contract amendments which do not increase the contract budget.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the contract amendment with TRPC. Any further discussion?
Maybe just one thing for the public. Jeremy, thank you for putting this together, but I want the public to know that we've had considerable discussion and debate on this topic prior to making this vote in earlier meetings.
Yeah. Anything? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you, sir. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 5, the sheriff requesting a proposal for electronic commissary for the county corrections facility. And we have our undersheriff.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Tim Braniff with the Sheriff's Office. Today the Sheriff's Office is asking for authority to send out for an RFP or a request for proposal for electronic commissary services for the Thurston County Corrections Facility. Our current ordering process is a very manual, time-consuming process which requires the inmates to fill out the order forms that are in return have to be keyed in, then in return have to be tabulated by the current vendor. So we're looking at an electronic ordering system that will be done by tablets, currently used with some other systems we have in place, and it'll expedite the process, make it more accurate, and bring some efficiencies to staff time to the corrections facility and our staff.
Okay. Questions or comments?
Yeah, I'd just like to have you pass on to the sheriff and your administrative crew. Thank you for these efficiencies, because time is money in the real world. That's what you're saving the taxpayers.
And I'll make a note that this has been approved by the ITC, or the Information Technology Committee, as well.
Thank you.
Oh, beautiful.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Excellent work. Thank you. Is there a motion?
Yes, I would move to approve the issuance of a request for proposal for electronic commissary services for the Thurston County Corrections Facility.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded for the electronic commissary request for proposal. Any further discussion?
No, sir.
No.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you to the sheriff. That takes us to item number 6, the county manager section, where we're going to report on our work sessions and all the things that we have done over the last week. Commissioner Edwards.
Spent, I would guess, my week on clean water, biosolid activity. I see KOMO had a news report recently from the Eastern Seaboard about all the toxic activities that come from biosolids put on properties and how detrimental that is to the food chain that it eventually gets into. So that was kind of nice to see. I would encourage anybody to go look that up if they want, just to get a little bit of an idea. We've been fighting this issue out at Yelm, and I think there's a lot more to come on this particular issue. And then the rest of my week was working with constituents and communications with different folks on reducing the time delays on projects because of the excessive regulation that we seem to have to continue to overcome. That's it.
Okay. Commissioner Messer?
Yes, attended the City of Tumwater's inauguration of its new and returning elected officials last week. There was a re-election of 3 of its council members and a new council member joining, and that was a good, really good turnout for that event at the Tumwater City Hall. Attended the chamber presentation where the leaders of each jurisdiction gave the state of the community. Commissioner Hutchings reporting for Thurston County and each of the mayors, and that was very interesting to hear the focus, quite different focal points for each community for 2020. Presented some information regarding the ballot proposition to the Thurston Chamber Executive Committee. Attended an excellent event over the weekend at Evergreen State College, put on by the Civil Survival Project, where they had justice-involved individuals and advocates coming to learn from elected officials about how to present information to elected officials, both at the state and county level. So Sam Hunt, Lori Dolan, and Beth Dolia and myself were there to report on what each of our jurisdictions is doing with respect to justice issues, and then hear stories from people and give feedback on kind of, would that be a good way to approach a very difficult topic, or was there something else that the elected official would rather hear? This morning was Innovative Justice meeting, which caused me to be almost late to agenda setting because it was a very robust discussion about the mission and purpose of that group, which is kind of a law and justice subgroup that meets once a month, but I think we're really gonna, there's a lot of energy for some new points of attack, so to speak, for 2020. And I spent my lunch hour at the Thurston Conservation District voting in the election for one of the Board of Supervisors today.
All right. I attended the Thurston County Chamber event, the State of the Community, very well attended. Attended the Legislative Steering Committee roundtable. WASAC puts that on. That's the Washington Association of Counties. Now that's right here locally in downtown Olympia. Also attended the Thurston Shared Legislative Partnership dinner, and where the representatives and senator and community partners come together, and the mayors, to talk about our shared agendas, legislative agenda. I attended the quarterly criminal justice treatment account quarterly meeting, and that is held out at WASPIC, which is the Washington Association of Sheriffs and Police Chiefs, and it predominantly is a mental health, justice treatment and mental health committee comprised of prosecuting attorneys, state representatives, State Department of Health, counties, and service providers, as well as other justice folks, to talk about what we're going to do with treatment dollars and upcoming legislation. This last Friday, the 3 of us, commissioners, did a taping at Thurston Community Media called Meet the Commissioners, TCM. Thurston Community Media does it every January. Talk about what's new, what's old, what we look forward to, what are the challenges and such. And that was a fun event. Then yesterday was the Community Investment Partnership, or CIP, meeting, and it was just preparatory work for RFPs, request for proposals, going to go out in May, April or May, for bringing in money, not bringing in money, but how we can dispose as a group to send money out to for housing and homelessness and such. And it's the county and the mayors or representative from each council in the city or in the county are represented on that partnership. And tonight, I was going to attend the Olympia Lions Club. They wanted a state of the community address as well, but due to snow and sub-freezing temperatures and such, they canceled the meeting. So I get an evening off. And then that was peppered with a meeting with constituents over the last week regarding land use or their use of their own property and those types of issues we're trying to sort through. And with that, I'm turning to the county manager.
Thank you, Commissioners. Let me walk you through your combined schedule for the next 2 weeks, considering the Tuesday, January 21st Board of County Commissioners meeting has been canceled. The appointments that are going to be included in my report is where at least 2 commissioners are present. You may have individual appointments on your individual calendars. Those will not be part of my report. At 3:30 today, you have your regular Board of Health meeting. Tomorrow, Wednesday, January 15th, at 9 in the morning, you have a meeting with the school superintendent, and that's a regular meeting that you host just about on a quarterly basis. At 10 in the morning tomorrow, January 15th, you have a briefing related to county claims and insurance-related matters. 10:30, you have a briefing from the Thurston Regional Planning Council. 12 noon, you will be hosting Pat McCarthy, the state auditor. She will be coming to the county and have a meet and greet with the commissioners and the rest of the elected officials as well. Nothing on your combined schedule on Thursday, January 16th. On Friday, January 17th, you have your study meeting that will be located on the Rainier Senior Center on 108 Michigan Street South in Rainier, Washington. Next week, Monday, January 20th, the courthouse and all the county offices will be closed in observance of the Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Tuesday, January 21st, you will convene here at 9 in the morning where you will have an agenda setting where you will be reviewing the agenda items included on the January 28th, 2018 Board of County Commissioners, 2020 Board of County Commissioners meeting. The Board of County Commissioners for January 21st has been canceled, as well as the Transportation Benefit District for that day has been canceled as well. Wednesday, January 22nd, you have an executive session related to the Nelson Dietrich Znaza case. January 22nd at 10, you will have a board briefing scheduled, yet to be scheduled. At noon, you will have lunch with your appointed directors. At 2 in the afternoon, January 22nd, you will have a briefing from the Sheriff's Office, the state of the Sheriff's Office, and this is related to the corrections side of their business. 3 in the afternoon, you also have a reserve for a work session yet to be scheduled. Nothing on your combined schedule January 23rd, that's a Thursday. Nothing on your combined schedule January 24th. Monday, January 27th, at 9 in the morning, you will be reviewing the agenda for your meeting offsite on January 28, 2020. On Tuesday, January 28th, in the morning, you will have your agenda setting. And your Board of County Commissioners on Tuesday, January 28th, and again, will be offsite, and it will be located on the Washington Farm Bureau building on the Harvest Room, located on 975 Carpenter Road, Northeast in Lacey, Washington. That's all I have for you.
Perfect. So with that, is there anything for the good of the order, Commissioner?
No, sir.
Anything?
No.
This meeting is adjourned.